3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Good evening. It's Monday again already. Where has that week gone? Welcome along to Reading the Signs with me, Comedy John Ryan, and my pals from the world of comedy, showbiz, entertainment, and anywhere else I can find them, really. Every week we talk about mental health, mental wellness, what we do, why we do it, how we deal with the good times, the bad times. We want you to help as well. Let us have your top tips for well-being. Let us know you're there by putting comments in the box. Do give us a like on YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook. Just tell your friends, really. And subscribe, of course. Very important that you subscribe at this day and age. Quick mention to Lost Boys UK for this fantastic theme tune. Have a look at my website, happytohelpyou.com. We've got great guests. We've got a great show. We've got a great audience. Let's get to it.
Oh, hello. I'm hidden behind depression symptoms. Welcome along to Reading the Sign. It wouldn't be like me, would it, if it wasn't something a little bit bodged. It's me, John Ryan. Today I'm in Lanzarote, hence the kind of exotic beach look in the background, the difference to the Japanese laundry that we normally have. So how's your day going? What you all been up to? People who listen regularly will know that I don't do sunshine and heat, so I will be hiding from the sun all day. That's how I protect my physical health, by keeping out of sunlight, and I protect my mental health by keeping away from dangerous people at the moment. So what have you been up to? How's your week been? I've been traveling a lot. I've been to Portugal and Spain on one ship and then ship hopped onto another, which is now gone around the Canary Islands. So all is good, I think. I'm very happy. Things seem to be going in the right direction. But sometimes things won't go in the right direction, and that's what we're all about here on a Monday night. We'll get some great guests who come along, just tell us about their lives, what they do, how they do it, and why they do it. And then somewhere along that journey of their conversation, we pick up little tips that can help everybody else that's listening. So if you are there, do give us a like, do put a little comment in the box on all the social media pages. I just don't even know how it works, to tell you the truth, a lot of time. But yeah, just say, look, I'm alive, I'm here, I'm listening. Any of our regulars who found your way along here at this odd hour for us to be doing this, yeah, do let us know how you're getting on, what you're up to. So, as you know, every week I get really good, interesting guests, and tonight is an exceptional guest. Karen and I have been mates for like 20 years. Great comic, but also got real life experiences. We've travelled together. We've talked about football. We've talked about just everything, really. And I think that's what makes for a really good performer and really good comic. People who have got life experience and who have not just kind of sat with their mates in a cafe somewhere writing jokes, but actually learn their craft, hone their craft, and know all about their craft. Sometimes with comics, you get people who've just gone straight from school and done a stand-up course and off they go. But very often, the great comics are the ones who have life experience. And as we're about to find out, my guest this week has got a great deal of life experience. It's got the most unusual living conditions, I think, of anyone I know. It's probably the coolest living conditions of anyone I know. So with that in mind, can I ask you please, let's start some clapping. Let's just make her feel very, very welcome as we're joined by the awesome Karen Bayley. There you go, mate.
Hello.
How you doing? You good?
You?
Well, you scrubbed up, didn't you? What happened 5 minutes ago? What happened?
Know.
Where's bedhead gone?
You saw me. I just a little bit of makeup. It's amazing what brushing your hair can do. And this is Bert. You can probably see the top of his head. He's gonna knows. Because otherwise he'll just bark and be annoying. So
mate, you are the most middle class guest I've ever had on. You live in a houseboat and you've got a dog called Bert. What do you know?
How is that?
What more can we have?
I'm a water gypsy. How is
you
that?
Just got it.
Huh?
You probably eat avocados and aubergines. You're poshed up.
No. Honestly, mate. You'll probably hear the glugging in the background in my water tank. And that's not a euphemism, by the way.
Okay, very good. So what have you been up to there? You busy? You gigging? You working?
Yeah, gigging loads, driving loads. Yeah, I've just been really busy, up and down the country, doing lots of gigs, writing, just nearly finished my second children's book. which is it's a trilogy. So I've done the first one. Still haven't got a publisher, but I've got it optioned for TV, which is the really weird way to do it. So I'm doing that. Yeah, plugging away really. I think as most of us are, aren't we?
That's good. But so let me start with, where are you in the family? Do you have brothers and sisters? You're the oldest, the youngest? What's your role?
I'm the youngest. I have 2 older brothers. So hence the fact I'm a bit of a geezer bird, and the interest in football, because if I didn't like football, I couldn't join in. So, and actually it's quite funny because after the Women's Euros, I put something on Facebook about how, you know, it's important that girls should play football, etc., etc. And I said I used to play with my brothers, and my brother put underneath, "You didn't play with us. We just stuck you in goal, and you spent hours fetching the ball." So.
Yeah, I can see that works. So, what was you like as a child? Were you funny? Were you happy?
That's a difficult one, actually. I was a bit of an oddbod in a lot of ways, and it's interesting how you see yourself and how other people see you. I went on a school reunion a few years ago, and somebody said to me, "Oh yeah, you were always in the in crowd," and I was like, "No, I wasn't." They used to call me Bamba after Bamba Gascoigne, because I used to have these gold glasses, and I, like, everybody would always have the cool shirt. I found it difficult because we lived in the city centre of Birmingham, and then we moved to Sutton Coldfield, which is quite an affluent area, but we didn't have the money to live in an affluent area, so I never felt that I really fitted in. I was that sounds a bit arrogant, I was really clever at school, but my mum, it's weird because my brothers particularly weren't academic, so I came along being the clever one, and nobody really appreciated it, so I didn't bother.
Right.
So yeah, I think I did. I think that's where my humour came from, was just trying to be noticed a little bit. But I don't think I was the obnoxious, I'm the clown one. I think at school I was just really naughty because it's the only way I could get a bit of attention. So yeah,
it's strange how many comics were the naughty kid, or they seem to fall into these two bands, like the naughty disruptive one or the academic. And it's always fascinates me trying to place people in which group.
Yeah, you see, I was the naughty academic, which is a bit weird, because it's also strange that I eventually actually became a teacher, because I think maybe that made me a better teacher, because I used to get really bored in class. So I'd play up, and, like, you know, the teachers would give me work, and I'd be like, "Oh, I finished it. So what do I do now?" "Oh, I'll just play up." And because my parents were so strict, I couldn't play up at home. So I thought, "Oh, I'll just mess around at school." But there were some teachers I was really respectful, and then there were some teachers that I just used to really wind up. Yeah.
Okay. So, did you enjoy school? Was it like a pleasant experience, or was it something you just had to get through?
Yeah, I did enjoy school. Yeah, on the whole, because I loved sport. I was really sporty, so I loved. You know, I always remember I always have really happy memories of, like, lunchtime. We used to have a netball practice, and I used to go in and get changed, and I used to be really excited to get out there and play. Yeah, secondary school was a bit more. I found secondary school harder because at that point you notice the differences when you don't have money and kids do. So, like, where I, you know, from the age of 14, I had a Saturday job, and then everybody I went to school with on their 17th birthday got a brand new car, and I literally got like 3 driving lessons. Oh yeah, I mean, Suttonfield is an affluent area, and, you know, because my parents wanted to live there, but they couldn't really afford it. So yeah, everything was just secondhand, and, like, I remember going to a children's party, and everybody used to wear long dresses, and my cousin had given me some hand-me-downs, and I went in what I thought was a long dress to this party, and everybody was just going, "You're wearing a nightie, it's a nightie," and I just remember just being horrified, just being stood there in this bloody nightie, trying to keep away from the fire in case it, you know, set light.
Character building, that's what it was. Character building.
God, yeah. So
we're just going to take a few little hellos. Firstly, she rarely listens, okay? But this week she's decided to join us. So Tasha is beavering about in the background, sunbathing upstairs somewhere.
Love you, Tash.
We've also had a bit of a hello from Joanne, who was Wilkins, who did a musical with you years ago. I'll have to find out a little bit more on that. I didn't know you had a musical background.
Oh, yeah. I was in the Cargo I was in Chicago, and yeah, I used to be a bit of a dancer in my day.
Look at you, all the secrets coming out on a Sunday morning. And Keith, of course, I think he's in Dudley up the road. Normally comes on a Monday night, but staying here today. So then you left school. What happened then? Did you go straight to university or what?
No. Again, I wanted to go to drama school. So, because there was always something performing in me that I wanted to do. And then I did my A-levels. By this point, I was being quite rebellious at school. And I used to just revise the day before my exams and do really well. My O-levels, yeah, piece of cake. And then my A-levels, I did French and German, and I realised you can't learn French and German in a week to A-level standards. So
yeah.
I scraped my A-levels.
I could see the thinking behind it.
Yeah. There's me with the verbs and the nouns thinking, oh, ich weiß nicht.
Your secret is out there. Sorry, Joe was in The Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, yeah.
At Little Sutton Arts.
At Sutton Arts, yes.
Right.
I was a tree.
Yeah, it was a tree.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I also had to stand in a plant pot. We had to stand in a plant pot, and it was on a revolve. And we had to be doing all this in green lycra. It was hideous. And because it was a tiny little plant pot, our feet were stuck in it. And you had to, as the stage revolved, you had to move your feet. And then the main characters would fly in. And because you didn't have any, they would bump into you, and you'd knock into another plant and another plant and another plant. And everybody would just be on the floor because it was like Skittles and you couldn't stand up. Yeah, it was a really great performance.
Mate. Sorry about that little distraction there. So what happened? You left school, not able to speak French and German.
Yeah.
What went on?
I went to drama school, and then my dad was made. I got a place to do drama, but then I couldn't get a grant because, I'd got a grant, but then my dad was made redundant, and they wouldn't. Well, anyway, boring story. I then went and worked in a retail shop. I did retail management. I did that for 2 years, and then I took the civil service entrance exam and passed that.
Oh, wow.
So then I became a tax inspector.
Well, mate, I found out more to you in the last 10 minutes than I have in the previous 20 years. What was that like being a tax inspector?
Horrible. Well, actually, no, it wasn't horrible. I worked in Solihull, which was really lively, fun office. Everybody, I think I had my 21st birthday when I was there, and they got me absolutely hammered and just put me in a taxi and sent me home. And then I moved to Walsall tax office, which was like going from a holiday camp to a morgue. It was horrendous. I hated every minute of it. So at that point, I decided to go and do a ski season. So I jacked in my job and went to the Alps for 5 months, and then came back, worked in the dodgiest accountants ever. Basically, this accountant didn't even have natural light. I was in a broom cupboard. And
just in a dark dungeon.
Yeah, and some of their clients were the proper rogues in Birmingham.
Okay.
Hi, Dave. I'm wave to Dave. So and then that's when I decided that actually I got sacked from that. It's the first time I got sacked from a job. And I went home and told my dad.
Come on. What was that? Was it fraud? Was it Were you doing bits for villains
No.
on the side?
No, what happened was the accountant was being fraudulent, and we had these guys that we did out their tax for. I can't really say their names because they were like the gangsters in Birmingham, and they got all these dodgy dealings. And one of the guys phoned up the once and started to have a go at me on the phone, and I told him where to get off. And then the main accountant said, "Do you know who he is?" I went, "No." And he said, "He has people kneecapped." I went, "Oh, oh dear." So yeah, and then he at me, which was all right because I'd actually I'd got a place to do teacher training. So because he sacked me, I got 4 weeks paid holiday. If he hadn't, I'd have had to work it. So I was like,
yay! Yeah. And then teacher training, what was that all about?
You know what? I always wanted to be a comedian, I think. And I thought if I become a teacher, then I can do supply, and that will give me something I can do while I start to do comedy, although I never had the nerve to. So yeah, I did 4 years in Birmingham at doing teacher training for and specialised in creative arts. And that's when I first started to write. For my final dissertation, I wrote a series of monologues because I really liked talking heads and what's his name? Alan Bennett. Loved Alan Bennett. And
Alan Bennett,
so I wrote a series of monologues. And that's when they had an external drama tutor to come in and mark those final monologues. And he looked at me and he just kind of went, "Do you really want to be a teacher? You said you could be a writer." And I was like, "Oh, that's very nice." Ooh. So,
but there is a tradition, isn't there, of teachers becoming writers?
Oh yeah, I think most teachers are frustrated artists, musicians, writers. Those, was it those that can't teach? Those that can't teach teachers. Something like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of creators. So then, what happened with the teaching that you decided that you just didn't want to be like a head teacher, offset inspector, head teacher?
God no. I did my last year in teacher training. I worked at this school which was inner city Birmingham. Really, really tough kids. But I love the school. I love the staff. So they offered me a job there. So I was used to working with really underprivileged kids and that. And then I did that for 2 years. And then I went into theatre and education thinking, because at this point I hadn't had the guts to start to do comedy. I was still like, I couldn't. So I started to do theatre and education, which was, I was bored rigid with that because it's the same performance day in, day out. And then I went a bit mad and went and lived in Turkey. I did a Shirley Valentine and lived in Turkey for 18 months.
Wow. What did you do out there?
Well, I met this guy and I lived out there and I taught English to Turkish students, which was hilarious because they got me in as the woman who ran the school did all the grammar because I couldn't do the grammar. She had to do the grammar because I didn't know English grammar, even though I was a teacher. And she was Turkish. Right. She was telling me, "No, you don't know how to teach the grammar." I was like, okay. So I used to do the conversation classes and we just used to have an absolute ball because I used to do like all this role play with them. And then I'd do because I'd have a complete mix of students. I'd have the waiters that just wanted to speak English and pull the girls. And then I'd have the ones that wanted to do it for their job. So I used to have a real mix of people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I used to get the minibus with the students on the way home and I used to teach them rude rugby songs.
Is there like a village somewhere in the middle of Turkey full of West Brom supporters?
Probably. There was one guy that once I was in, because where I lived was Dalaman, and Dalian is the really beautiful coastal resort. And I was having a coffee with my friend the one day, and one of the boat people who was driving the boat was driving past us in the restaurant, and he shouted, "That's my teacher, that's my teacher." And I stood up and went, "That is my teacher. Where's the verb?" Yeah.
Brilliant. So then you come back to England, and then how did the stand-up start?
Well, I think me coming back to England was part of wanting to do comedy was part of the reason I came back to England, because I was vegetating in Turkey. I was convincing myself that I was happy. I was convincing myself, and I wasn't, because I wasn't doing what I really wanted. And then I came back and I was doing supply teaching and still writing, still thinking about doing comedy. And then I was doing certain arts, you know, as Joanne had so I was there, and there was a woman there. I think all my friends got absolutely sick of me talking about it. And so somebody entered me into the So You Think You're Funny, the Channel 4 competition.
Okay.
And that's
before we get to that, Joanne seems to remember you doing a jitterbug dance. A crazy fast jitterbug dance.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. You put it on your act. You could put it in your act.
I think we had to wear swimming goggles. That was crazy fast. Yes. Yeah, the jitterbug. We had to wear swimming goggles, I think, to make us look like jitterbugs, and they kept steaming up. We kept bumping into each other. I think I could, vaguely remember.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. So You Think You're Funny. What year was that? And a quick hello to Adrian Lister as well. He's down in Cardiff. He comes along on Monday.
I think it was 2000. Yeah, I think it was 2000. And most people, as you know, as you know, John, but other people might not know, there's loads of comedy competitions, but people kind of don't do it as their first gig. I did, which was great. You know what? I think it was the kick that I needed to do it. It was the old Cosmic Comedy Club in London, which is no longer there. There were about 300 people in.
Oh, yeah, Fulham, that wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was about 300 people in. And I remember there was one girl that went on, and it was her first ever gig, and she literally did 2 minutes and ran off. And then there was a double act on before me called Matt and McKinnon. Do you remember them? They were a double act.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the one guy, Matt, didn't he? He ended up being an actor in Gabby and Stacey, you know. They were on before me, and they were really polished. So I was sat with my friends in the audience, and all the acts were sat the other side. So I thought, I can't walk up while they're on. That's rude. So when they called my name, I just sauntered through the audience. It must have looked so arrogant, because all the other acts were coming on from the other side, and there's me just swaggering through.
Brilliant.
My first gig.
God, I remember there was a craze for comics to have walk-on music, and then you'd be the company, you go, please welcome on stage, Billy Bones, and then the music would start, and they'd be nowhere, and then there'd be an empty stage for 30 seconds while they walked on like some big shot, Bernie Mac, American comic.
Yeah, like the boxers.
And British audiences just didn't like that. Yeah, and British audiences just didn't like it. Very bizarre, mate. So how did you go with So You Think You're Funny then? Did you get through? Did you?
I got a phone call, and they said there's some good news and some bad news, and they said the good news is that you're in the final, whatever. And I said the bad news is you're on the standby list. And me, because it was my first ever gig, I went, well, what does that mean? And they said, well, you're not going up to the semi-finals. But then I think it was Christian Knowles I spoke to, and he said, was that really your first gig? I went, yeah. He went, no, really, was it? I went, yeah.
Okay, I'm losing sound here. I'm hoping everyone can still hear you, or still hear me at least, or still hear us. You've completely frozen out now. While we wait for you to get that reset, let's just see if, just as a recap, so this is Karen Bayley, who's great stand-up, background in teaching, but which can do the jitterbug, did musicals, did theatre.
Hello, hello, hello. Everybody can see and hear me. Hello, I'm in a void. If you can see and hear me, look at my boat. Look. And that's my log burner. I need to put some tiles around the log burner. That's Bert's little blanket there. And that's Bert asleep on the floor there, look. And that's my pyjama trousers. Oh. Oh, shall I log off and come back on again? Oh. I've got a spot there. Hello.
I don't know what happened there. Just completely lost the signal. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. All
Yeah.
very bizarre.
I'm still on there, but you've gone.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a signal at my end or if it's.
I've normally got a good signal here though, so because I'm in the city centre.
It's not me, mate.
We're on a ship in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, just from people going, "A Karen's still there."
I know. I showed them around my boat.
That's hilarious.
I showed them Bert, and I showed them a fire.
It's just got in my head though. No, we'll have to try it again when I'm back in the UK. I'm really sorry about that.
It's all right, mate. Don't worry. And hopefully I won't have a big spot on my face. I've got a big spot. I'm showing everybody my big spot.
Are you still with Adam Rushton?
Yes.
How's that working out?
Really well. Really good. Yeah.
I like him. I've always got very well with him, actually. I speak to him every now and again.
Yeah, no, he's great. Yeah.
I think because he's been a performer, so he knows.
Yeah, and you know what? He's, I mean, there's people who've come and go, people who've had him. Are people still watching me on this live thing, by the way? Or is that?
No.
Oh, cool. Okay.
This is a phone.
All right. So I can switch that off. No. Because